everyone, welcome back to my channel as well as the floor of my spare bedroom, or what also functions as my office in my mum's house, because I just wanted to have a super chill sit down haul video, and what is more chill than sitting on the floor. I don't know about you, but it always makes me feel somewhat relaxed sitting on the floor. There's just something about it, so I thought I would do that, and it means I can just have my books stacked around me here to show you. Now, because the last book haul I did was actually a birthday book haul where I hadn't bought any of the books myself, I have books here from the past couple of months that I've bought that I still haven't shown you, as well as some more that have been sent to me by publishers, and I just wanted to, like I said, have a super chatty, chill catch up and share with you the new books in my home. So without further ado, let's have a look at the books, starting with the books that I have bought myself in the past few months. So first up is a dead giveaway when it comes to why I bought this book or where I bought this book, because it's got a classic supermarket sticker right here on it. I was doing a sort of top-up shop for my mum and I in Morrison's and came across this on the bookcase, which was the Gilded Ones by Namini Forna, and this I believe is a YA fantasy novel. I have seen it around, but I haven't really seen any reviews of it. Like, I haven't heard from people what they think of it yet, and I need to do a little bit more research, but it did seem to have good overall ratings on Goodreads when I did a quick search there in the supermarket, and the plot did sound really intriguing. So for £4.50 I couldn't really resist whilst I was buying my bananas and peanut butter and whatever else I was there for that day. I believe it's about Decca, who, when it comes time for her sort of inauguration ceremony that I guess everyone goes through in this fantasy world, her blood runs gold instead of red, indicating that she is part demon, and the fallout of that. Don't know much more, but like I said, seems to have pretty good reviews and was a bargain. Similarly, another time, actually this feels like a long time ago I bought this one, but I was in Sainsbury's. I don't tend to go to the supermarket very often. We do a lot of our supermarket shopping online these days, but it appears when I do go, apparently I have to leave with a book, and that was The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearse. So this, I believe, is a horror thriller novel. It's set in an isolated setting, which we all love, sort of ideal territory for this genre, and it's about a detective who's actually on holiday staying at this hotel, which may or may not have previously been a sanatorium, and something darker is afoot. So I am very, very interested in getting around to this one. The next three books are actually the most recent books I've bought, and these were all purchased from an online independent bookstore called Proud Geek. So I actually discovered them through TikTok. If you don't know, although you probably already do, I have become absolutely enamored with TikTok over the past month. I've been having a lot of fun both making content and experiencing content and finding new content on there, and one of the things that cropped up on my For You page was the Proud Geek account, where they were talking about this independent bookshop that they'd set up over the past year that specialised in LGBTQ+ literature. And as you all probably know, I am a sucker for LGBTQ+ literature in all forms, so I had to go and check them out and decided to place an order. First up, I picked out Moonstruck Volume 3, which is a comic book series I have been reading. I have already obviously read volumes 1 and 2 in, and I've been really looking forward to finally picking up volume 3. It's super cute and cozy, set in a world a little bit like our own, but where most of the characters are also fantastical. So, you know, they're going to university, they're going to coffee shops to write their novels, but they're also centaurs or werewolves. That's pretty much what you can expect from this. And then I picked up two novels that I hadn't heard about, which I discovered through their website. And one of the nice things about specialist bookshops like that is that I know no matter what I pick up from their website, it's going to be LGBTQ+, which is awesome, because that's something I'm constantly hunting for. The first one is The Prey of Gods by Nikki Drayden, which is a sci-fi novel set in a futuristic South Africa where AI and robotics have become standard and appear to be making the lives of everyone in the country easier, including the working classes. However, nothing is ever as smooth as it seems, and there are just as many dangers a part of this new world as there is exciting innovation. So I'm intrigued to see where this one goes. And I also picked up The Affair of the Mysterious Letter by Alexis Hall, which is a historical novel with a paranormal twist. And if that genre crossover wasn't already entirely up my street, then this first sentence on the blurb would have sold it to me. It says, in this charming, witty and weird fantasy novel, Alexis Hall pays homage to Sherlock Holmes with a new twist on those renowned characters. I love me anything inspired by Sherlock Holmes. It is an instant purchase for me, especially if it's got LGBTQ plus elements. Then lastly, I placed myself a bit of a treat order for my birthday over a month ago, which was from Books to Door, and yes, I got all of these books. So Books to Door are a bookish website that specifically sort of deal in box sets and deals around bookish box sets. And between the existing reductions on these books and a 20% off coupon, I think I only spent about £30 to get myself 12 book, which seems kind of out of this world. And yeah, like I said, I was sort of treating myself that week. And the first box set I picked up is the Graceling set. I mean, it's not in a box, but it is the Graceling trilogy, although I think there may be a new book in this series since the original 3 came out by Kristen Kishore. So this is a YA fantasy series that came out well over a decade ago, and I've been hearing fantastic things about online and offline for a very, very long time, and sort of always in the back of my mind meant to pick up. So when I did see that it was reduced and I could get all 3, I decided to treat myself. Now I will say, typically I am not someone who buys entire series or multiple books in a series before I have already read one of the books, but yeah, the prices were just so good that it made sense in this instance, and I'm excited to finally get around to this series, which includes Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue. Then we have an author I have read, which is Sarah MacLean. So Sarah MacLean is a historical romance writer, and this was a set of 3 of her novels in one, including Wicked and the Wallflower, Daring and the Duke, and Brazen and the Beast, which had been on my TBR for ages, so I could not resist. Like I said, I already know I like this author and I love me some historical romance. Then lastly, I will confess to having bought this box set because I wanted free postage and it was already so cheap that I decided to give it a shot. It's not one that had spent much time on my radar beforehand, but I have heard good things about it and it does seem to have good reviews. So that is the Chronicles of Ixia series by Maria V. Schneider, which begins with Poison Studies. This one's obviously actually in a box, and there's 6 of these books beginning with this one. And it's another one a little bit like the Graceling series, which has definitely been around for a long time in the YA fantasy world, which may be a good or a bad thing, I don't know, but I just thought, hey, I will give it a try, and like I said, I was placing that order as it was. So that was my birthday present to myself. Then the rest of the books in this pile were sent to me by the publishers. The first 2 were sent to me by Bloomsbury and are proofs for books coming out later this year, both by authors I've already read and adored, so I'm super excited for them. The first one, with this gorgeous cover, is the new book by Kailyn Bayron, who wrote Cinderella is Dead, and this one's called The Poison Heart. I believe this one is set in our recognisable world, except our main character has the ability to grow trees using magic, and it's an ability she's had to hide her entire life because it's not considered the norm, and about what happens when she inherits a run-down family home. Then we have the first in what I believe is a new series from Brigid Kemmerer, which is Defy the Night. This author previously wrote the Curse So Dark and Lonely series, which I really enjoyed book 1 in and need to get to the rest in. And to be honest, I know nothing about this one other than what the blurb says, so I'll just read that aloud to you. In a kingdom where sickness stalks the streets and only the richest can afford a cure, King Harriston and his brother, Prince Corrick, are forced to rule with an iron fist. Tessa Cade is a masked outlaw marked for death, but she likes it that way. Together with the mysterious Handsome Weston, she robs from the rich to help the poor, distributing food and medicine to those who need it most. As it becomes clear that the only way to save her people is to assassinate the king, Tessa faces a deadly mission that will take her to the dark heart of the kingdom and force her to work with the very people she intended to destroy. Okay, so this book definitely makes use of the Robin Hood trope, which I love. And then we have the new middle grade book by Nicola Skinner, which is Starboard. I adore Nicola Skinner's work. She's such a phenomenal middle grade writer and her books are just perfect for all ages. Like I said, absolutely adore her. And this one is about a successful 11-year-old TV star, which I think sounds like such an interesting premise. Plus I always have to show off these hardbacks because they are some of the most stunning books out there, genuinely. Like, I adore these. Obviously, it's also set aboard a ship. I mean, that comes as no surprise to anybody from the cover. From Weidenfeld and Nicholson, I received the latest book from Sherry Dimeline, which is Empire of the Wild. I actually have one of this author's YA books on my shelf, but I believe this is an adult work, and it sounds incredibly intriguing and mysterious. It's about Joanne, whose husband went missing a year ago, and she's been searching for him all this time, only to come across him in the car park of a supermarket but him to deny his identity. So she is absolutely certain that this man that she meets is her husband who went missing, but he says he is not. So I don't know where that's going to go, but it sounds super intriguing and I cannot wait to read it. Then I have 2 books on a similar theme, which are very kindly sent to me by Pan Macmillan, who know my absolute adoration for The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And these are 2 new editions with different features. So first up is this new gorgeous illustrated edition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, which is illustrated by the one, the only Chris Riddell, who I think we all love and adore. Let me find an example of the illustrations inside there. So that's his depictions of some of the characters. Then there's more illustrations scattered throughout, and I am so excited to reread this book with illustrations because that's an experience I've never had, and I really think that Chris Riddell's style is going to go perfectly with this book. Then on top of that, because Pan Macmillan have been celebrating the 42nd anniversary of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which if you've read the series you know how significant it is, we have the Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which collects all 5 of the original books, I believe, but also contains previously unseen archive material. And as a die-hard Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan, I am so excited to experience this previously unseen archival material because I will consume this book and this story any way I can. I'm not one to typically collect lots of editions of the same book, but The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is something that comes in a lot of different forms. It was originally a radio show, which I've listened to multiple times. I've also seen a live performance of the radio show with the original cast. Then it was adapted into a book, and there's 5 in the series in total by the original author. It was obviously made into a film as well as a TV series, and each one contains something a little bit new. I have a copy of the original radio script, and now I obviously have these editions as well as my original set of the 5, and I couldn't be more excited to have all of these different ways to reread and re-experience this series because, as is obvious, I love it. I love it, absolutely love it. Those, however, are all the books I had to share with you. I hope you have enjoyed this super chill and chatty floor haul, shall we call it? I would love to hear from you if you have any thoughts or feelings on the books that I've mentioned in this video, whether you've read them or not. And until next time, happy reading. I'll see you again soon. Bye everyone!